Hello everyone. Here we are again gathered with a prestigious guest. Dear Aymers, I thank you for your presence and your ability to stimulate discussions thanks to your curiosity and your enthusiasm. After a season of transportation strike a few months ago, and currently with commutes that are jeopardized with the coronavirus, taxis have recently held an important part in our lives. How do they adapt their activity to situation on high demand? How do they resist and stand out from their competitors? How do they assure the health of their customers and their employees today? Here are a few questions we ask ourselves, and that our guest will most likely answer to, thanks to his expertise and his long-lasting experience in the field. Indeed, we are glad to welcome tonight the man who has been running the Group Rousselet since 1996. You might know him from the last Business Performance Awards, since his companies accepted an award in this occasion. Dear Nicolas Rousselet, thanks again for your presence among us and for the quality time you are about to grant us. And if you may, I will present you shortly. You graduated from the HEC Business School in 1990 and went straight to the Taxi Group G7 in 1991, where you started as head of mission to the president. 6 years later, you became Director General of the group before finally being appointed CEO in 2001, a position that you still hold today. In parallel, in 1996, you become president of Magasins Généraux de France, specialized in transportation and storage, and you also started Homebox that offer customers self-storage space. Furthermore, you have been since 2000 president of the Car and Professional Vehicles Rental Company, ADA. And finally, you have been since 2008 president of the National Union of Taxi Industry of France. Tonight, we will have the chance to discuss with you about the challenges your area is facing, and as well as its latest opportunities. We will also discuss about group strategies, and we might get to talk about your vision of the company as a leader. With no further ado, I give the floor to Nicolas, whom I would like to thank warmly once again. Nicolas?
Well, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you this evening. Indeed, I have been appointed CEO of our subsidiary, the taxi business G7, 3 years back, 3 years and a half now, because at this time we had a big deregulation of the taxi business, mainly through the Uber arrival. So the company G7 was launched in 1905, so last century, and it has been leading in its activity in this sector, the taxi business in Europe. We are a platform, so our job is to provide a taxi to a customer who wants to go from point A to point B. We have 14,000 taxi affiliates in 160 cities all over France. And we are very strong in Paris, because among those 14,000 taxi, we have 9,000 drivers, so one taxi out of two in Paris. We transport 20 million, we do 20 million rides only in Paris each year, 20 million. About half of it is through the G7 app. Now, if we include internet, we can have a taxi in taxis. 60% of the rides are going through the app on the internet. We also launch a dematerialized payment solution, so you can grab a cab in the street and pay with a G7 app, provided you have put your credit card before. So it's fully digitalized, no contact. You just grab a cab in the street, and a G7 cab, of course. That must be an affiliate, but 1 out of 2 in Paris is a G7 cab. And we are also very proud about the G7 fleet, the green fleet, the eco-friendly fleet of G7, because among the 9,000 Parisian cabs, 40% of this fleet is green, whether it is electric or hybrid. So we are really strongly focused on that. We really believe that taxi is going to be a future mobility tool, very efficient, provided we do the next revolution, which is B2B, fully or closely fully electric and with zero emission. So we had as I mentioned in the introduction, we had a big challenge. It was to transform the company with the arrival of Uber. The transformation had to be swift, and it was a success, even if the number of cars available for customers in Paris went through 15,000 cabs to 45,000 cabs and Uber drivers. So the offer of transportation in Paris in just months, or maybe years, but mostly months, the number of cars available for Parisians to move in Paris tripled. So this big deregulation of the French market was a big event. But in this red ocean, we managed to be quite successful. To achieve that, we had 3 main tools. The first one was a strategy not aimed at the price. I mean, you cannot compete with a newcomer who last year lost $8 billion worldwide. You cannot compete on pricing with these competitors. You're going to be dead very soon, most likely before your competitors. You will lost also 3 billion the first quarter. And they can say it's COVID, but it's not COVID, because COVID it's mid-March, right? It's 3 billion loss. So the way to manage to survive and to increase our market share, because we did so, was to have a real premium strategy. A taxi is a professional. It's not someone who is coming into this market, drive a car for 6 months and go and do something else after. A taxi is a cab driver is someone who passed an exam, who bought a medallion. So it's someone who is staying between 10 and 20 years in this business. So he knows the city like no other. It does not need any ways or something like that. He's very, very professional. So the way we managed to increase our market share in such a harsh competition was to dramatically increase the quality of our service. And I must say that taxi driver did their cultural revolution, because it was not obvious. We all have memories about taxis saying, "Oh no, I don't want to take you into my car because I am busy." I mean, customer service was not at the top before this very hard competition. Competition, provided it's loyal, it's okay. Provided it's fair, it's okay. So the cab driver made their cultural revolution and dramatically increased the quality of our services. The second tool to achieve this transformation is the digitalization. We needed to be as professional as the newcomers, the new competitors, with our app. So we changed a lot our application. On top of that, we kept all the other channel to order a cab. We did not say, okay, no need for a call center. We kept our call center. We still service customer in the streets. So we take also credit card, but we take checks, we take cash. So the thing is, we really focus on providing the customer as many ways as they want to order a cab. It must be very easy for them to do so. In this premium strategy and digitalization, we also focus on providing a customer as many different services as they needed. So, for example, I mentioned the eco-friendly cabs for people who really want to improve the air in Paris. We provided family cars with special equipment for the babies to be safe when they are attached with the safety belts. We provided even coffee in some of the G7 cabs. You can order your coffee, so when the cab arrives, your coffee is hot and ready, waiting for you. So we really wanted to go very deep in provided all the need, all the wishes of our customers. And to do so, the last pillar on which we use the last tool, the last one is really being focused on humanization. I mean, if you are a premium brand, you really need to have a driver who is happy to service the customer. So it means the driver gives a good service, but he's paid for that. So I'm not going to be the less expensive car in the city. I'm going to be the one with a professional, with a driver who is happy to do his job, who is making enough money to change cars very often, who is able to buy a Mercedes, so a very nice car, very comfortable car. And instead of fighting with our drivers, saying, oh, are they employees or not, we decided to increase the relationship with our drivers. So we really team up with the drivers. For example, every 2 years, I rent a concert hall, and I invite all the taxi driver, all the 9,000, and like in a concert, even I don't sing, thanks God for them. We have this meeting every 2 years. So it's very important to have this human relationships. We don't fight with our drivers, because our drivers are really, it's one of our two missions. Just to remind it, we have a dual mission, G7, to provide a car to a customer like you guys, and also to give the best revenue for the drivers. So we really team up with our drivers to convince them that, in fact, even if we triple the offer of cars in Paris, they had a future. They have a future, provided they did their cultural revolution, increase not the price, same price, but increase the quality of service. And all those different actions led to a double-digit growth. So in the last 2 years, we had a 27% growth. So it was like if there was no deregulation. So, but another crisis was looming beginning of March this year. But we were, as you can see, we were very well prepared. The company was really strong. We had a terrific growth thanks to all those measures. So we were well prepared to face the COVID-19 challenge. Of course, like all the companies, especially if you operate in mobility business, of course with the lockdown, we had a sharp decrease of customer demands. So we only had 10% of the usual demands we had before this crisis. We had only 25% of the taxi driver who were working, and because of this very weak demand. So we decided to focus our strength. I did not shut down the company. I really wanted to be to work during the COVID-19. So that's what we did, and we focused on the people working for hospital. So we completed more than 3,000 rides for hospital employees. We really focused on this type of customers, and we were very proud to do so. We even did not take any fees with those people working to save our lives. So that was the new situation during the 2 months of lockdown. So, and we transported the staff of more than 1,000 hospitals, clinics, and medical nursing homes. That's what we did during the COVID-19. And I really need to thank the driver, because the drivers, it was not an easy job. Transporting people, taking care of the people who were sick was very brave. And I had 3,000 drivers working all along during this crisis. So I'm really thankful to them. So this commitment of our drivers was also part of the equation. And when we had this crisis, the first thing we did is just to stop all the payment for the drivers, all the payment due to G7 from one day to another. We decided to keep our drivers safe. So we told them, okay, you won't, now we are in a crisis, whether you work or you don't, you won't pay anything during the crisis. And you will pay later. And on top of that, for the drivers who wanted to work, we decided to lower by 20% our fees. The fees paid by the driver to be affiliated. So we did not even charge the fuel. The fuel was no fuel to pay until the end of the lockdown. So I think that was really appreciated for the drivers, and that's the minimum we could do. We also paid a great attention into cheering them up. So every week I did a 3-minute video for the 9,000 drivers in Paris to give them the last information. We also set up a little support department to give them all the information they needed to have all the states aid they could benefit from. And on top of that, we took advantage of the fact that the advertising, nobody wanted to advertise, so we took advantage of that by advertising a lot. So we saw a lot the G7 advertising on TV, and we changed the message, and the message was to thank the taxi driver and to tell them on TV every day that we really appreciate what they were doing for us and the people living in France by doing this transportation of doctors, nurses. So that's what we did during the crisis. Sorry. So now what we can now we see a progressive business recovery. So now we are last week we were 60% of the normal activity. So we started day one of lockdown 10%, and now we are 60%. So it's not a full recovery because many of the companies keep on working from their as their employees to keep on working from their home. But 60% it's not bad. I think one of the key factors to have 60% now is that at the end of the lockdown, or during the lockdown, we worked a lot with Bureau Veritas. Bureau Veritas is a very famous certification firm in order to develop a health protocol. We said, okay, we are a premium in the taxi and private hire. We are premium. We need to be premium also in health protocol. So we gave 30,000 maps to the driver. We designed during the lockdown period. We designed a kind of a plastic wall between the rear part of the car and the taxi driver to provide the best safety for our drivers and for our customers. So that may explain the 60% recovery, whereas many people do not take business lunch because restaurants are just opening now. So that I think that's health. The focus we had on health protocol was important to give reinsurance to our customer and to our driver. So we also so now we have 2000. No, let me give you a precise figure. This morning, yeah, we have 40% of the 9,000 drivers in Paris who have these separation panels between the front and the rear part of the taxi. So to finish this little speech, we really think this crisis is in an opportunity to rethink urban mobility. During this lockdown, we realized how precious the environment in which we live is important. How important it is. So sorry. We really believe that provided the eco-friendly transportation by buying a hybrid or electric taxi will be along biking, all these new tools. We really think taxi is going to be at the center of the city. You cannot let the city go wild. I mean, you cannot. If you want to have a peaceful city, you need to have a minimum of regulation. I'm not saying about lowering competition. I'm saying that if you don't want city being hell, you really need to organize a little bit the streets. So it has been done in New York, has been done in London. It has not been done yet in Paris, but the mayor is really trying to have space for the different use. You may have to go to your office, going on a bike, going on a taxi, and so more than ever, taxi has its place in this new environment. And I'm sure the taxi driver along us will keep on investing in eco-friendly cars. So we continue our green revolution, and we took a commitment of reaching 50% of green cars in our fleet by the end of 2021. Okay, I think that's. I want to leave you time for questions. I don't want to be too long in my presentation.
Nicolas, just one first question I will ask to you. And I said before the COVID, my personal view in terms of commuting on transportation and taxi was to say, okay, city, we are not supposed to drive our own car in the future because we need to take taxi or public transportation. It will be easier, it will be faster, it will be the future, or to rent a bicycle, or to rent whatever. This virus is changing a lot of the mind of people. People are afraid to go in the underground. They are afraid to take a bus. They want to be safe. So people will want more and more to take their own car with this health protection that you are supposed to have in your car. So how do you think the evolution will go? Because I was sure that in 10 years we will not be allowed to drive our own kind inside the city. I'm not so sure today.
Anyway, you cannot in cities. I mean, the space is very limited, so you cannot take your individual car. Everybody cannot take his individual cars. Take a taxi. With a taxi, you are very well protected. Now all the drivers, the customers wear masks, so you are very well protected. And you don't want to waste all your money in individual cars just to take your car and go on holidays on August. So we need to find clever solutions, because everybody, well, we realize how our mobility was sacred, because it was really painful to be on lockdown for 2 months for everybody. So we really realize that mobility is a key of happiness in a way. But not everybody cannot have individual cars. We need to share. That's why taxi, provided it's green, now it's connected, it's safe with this health protocol, and it's shared. A taxi is, you save 20 cars per taxi a day. So otherwise you keep on being in traffic jam, you keep on breathing damaged air. So we really need to have a shared solution, and we can have that now with taxi, and with bikes, and with just kind of a soft mobility. But
and do you think in parallel that this virus will increase the development of autonomous car without any driver?
Well, from what we heard recently, all the autonomous car, all the studies by the car manufacturer are suspended, because they are facing such a huge crisis that they no longer work on autonomous car. And for example, in the taxi business, if you want a good service, you need a human. You need someone to take your luggage, to open the door, to know the street where you will have traffic jam. So autonomous car, so far, well, now it's suspended. So maybe Google, maybe Alphabet will keep on working on that because they have so much money. But it's not, well, in our business, a good service needs a human, needs someone to take care of a car. But for example, now in this crisis, the driver is cleaning the car between each customer. He's using alcohol. You're not going to do that with an autonomous car, or driverless car. Sorry. So we need a human if you want nice quality.
Agreed. Do we have any question from people? Do not hesitate. You can raise your hand, or we may maybe have some, I don't know.
Good.
Already?
I have a question. Anita McCacken from Montreal. Congratulations about your success versus Uber. That's a very big challenge. And I think your approach of first-class customer service is excellent. I've been in Ubers and I've been in taxis in France and in Canada. And you said something about the Waze app. And I find that it's true that it's a profession. Taxi driver is a profession. But maybe even the best taxi driver doesn't know there's a crash. Do you have software, or do you have any plans to put in a software to predict where the traffic will be snarled or best routes for your drivers?
Yeah, I think you are fully right. I mean, the best thing to do is to have a combination of both. In all the G7 cars, we equip them with a computer. In that computer, you have Waze. So I think the best combination is to have both, to have those new tools, those great apps like Waze, and the know-how of a cab driver, who is a real professional. We really combine both.
Oh, that's excellent. I didn't realize you had your own app in there. That's great.
Yeah, it's in-house. It's an in-house system, and we included a Waze app in the computer in each cab in Paris. Good combination. I mean, it's like all know-how on the new digitalized tool. The best combination is to have both.
Yes, it is. That's excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I can confirm also, maybe Nicolas, because I'm always having a lot of time in a taxi, in a G7 taxi. What you are doing for your drivers is really impressive, because all of them are so respectful for you. I'm really impressed about that, and I wanted to tell it to you directly, because always when they are speaking about the G7 company, they are speaking about what are you doing for the opera, what you are doing for what are you doing for them, how you speak with them, that they really appreciate your behavior with so huge company. So I just wanted to confirm that for taxi drivers company, it's totally different what we can see in G7 company. So really just wanted to confirm that. No, it's not a question.
No, it is. Thank you for this remark. I think it's the way we work with a taxi driver. Last year we had 160 hours of work together. We like artificial intelligence, but we also like very much collective intelligence. So we really keep on working with that. So to always find the best way to give a good service, first class. Thank you for this appreciation. A first class service to our customer, and at the same time, the best revenue, the best tools for the drivers. So we are constantly working on this balance between those two customers, because in fact we have two customers, and it's in the DNA of G7. We don't for example, if a taxi driver has below 3 stars or below 3.5 stars out of 5 stars, we don't get rid of them. We give him a training. And when Uber arrives a few years back, we had to give a training to 800 taxi drivers because their rating was below 3.5. And now the rating of a taxi driver is 4.7 out of 5, given by the customer. So, and this was achieved through this work together with the taxi driver, this training we provide them, not by getting rid of them. That's the really part of the DNA, which is very different from our competitors. We consider the taxi driver, G7 taxi driver, like customers. It's part of our customer. I saw a question, but I'm on an iPad, so I saw a question, but it disappeared. Sorry. Maybe you can. Maybe someone who.
I ask a question, please.
Yeah.
How G7 will be impacted by the election of the next Paris mayor?
In fact, now the polls are showing that the next mayor will most likely, but it's the 28th of June when the election will take place. Most likely, the mayor will still be Anne Hidalgo. Most likely because she managed to have an alliance with the Green Party. So this mayor is very focused on lowering the use of individual cars. So she likes bikes, she likes taxi. She's really working on having a peaceful city, not civil war all the time with all different means of transportation fighting one against each other. So I'm very confident that because of this because of her target, we'll find a way to work with her. Anyway, we need to work as you know, transportation, public transportation, even if it's privately operated like taxi, is regulated. So all for example, the fares are not are regulated by the states. The use of the streets are regulated. So we need to keep on working on the state, whether it's the mayor or the transportation ministry. So I'm very confident that because we share the same target, is to improve the air quality, we'll find a way to work with the mayor. If it's Anne Hidalgo or even if it's another mayor, because now in the campaign, everybody is saying, okay, especially after this crisis, where the people living in Paris saw Paris in a different way. So everybody's say, okay, maybe individual cars will have to be, you know, we need to have less individual cars. So everybody's focusing on that. So taxi is the ideal tool. You cannot take a bike all the time. Sometimes you have your family, your kids, you run errands. So you need to have a four wheels tool. So I'm pretty optimistic about that.
Even if she wants the disappearance of diesel vehicles and in 2023 and thermal motors in 2030, and I think she wants the closing of traffic in some Paris areas too.
Yeah, you know, I'm very confident in the fact that taxi drivers, they are entrepreneurs and they adapt very, very fast. So provided you show them the way, so I'm sure they will quickly change cars and leave the diesel and go to hybrid or electric. Provided we have the offer from car manufacturer, I'm very confident. I hope we will add that, because so far today, if you want to have an electric car with 300 kilometers of autonomy, you only have the Tesla. That's the only big car, because you know we need to have few customers. We need to carry luggage, so we need big cars to provide our customer a comfortable ride. So, but today we just have Tesla to have a full electric car on. I'm sure car manufacturer will launch new electric cars. And in that case, I'm sure the center of Paris will be open to taxi, provided they are electric. And anyway, we really need to have transportation for everybody. Not everybody, especially people of some age, cannot ride a bike. So we need to, taxi is part of the system. We need to have transportation for everybody. So taxi will be needed even in the center of the city of Paris.
Nicolas, how do you see the end of this crisis in the coming weeks? What do you feel?
Well, I think we are in a way pretty lucky, because all of the central banks so far did what was necessary in order not to have an economic shutdown. So what's going to be difficult for them, for the Federal Reserve, for the European Bank, is to stop putting so much money in the economy slowly. So, but I'm pretty confident in that. And for example, what was put in motion in France what we call prêt garantie de l'État. So it's state, you have a state guarantee in order to have a loan, which can be 25% of your turnover. This special loan is very useful in order to recover from the crisis, and we will recover from the crisis because all of us, we really want to have our full mobility back. So just thinking about not being able to take a plane and going for holiday in the States or in Canada, so that's unbearable for many of us. So I'm sure we'll find a way everywhere. Of course, we have to be creative, but that's one of the part of human nature to be creative. So yeah, I'm pretty confident. It will take time, but everybody's doing the job, whether the government, the central banks, the entrepreneurs. I'm pretty confident. Yeah.
Hope everything will go in this direction.
We hope so.
Any other questions from someone? From Nicolas? Seems that you were so clear.
Seems to. Cleaning cars between customers takes time. I did not read the end of a question.
And will affect responsive of the reservation.
Sorry, I did not get the full question.
And will affect responsiveness of the reservation.
No, I think we can do both. I mean, we can answer customer on clean the car.
How long does it take? How long does it take to clean the car? 3 minutes? 5 minutes?
You know, today, well, before the crisis, we had a customer every 20 minutes, so it's fine. It's fine. And now it's, of course, it's more than 20 minutes, unfortunately, between two customers. So we really have, unfortunately, we have too much time to clean the car between two customers. We would like to have less time to clean the car. But anyway, we'll do that. And in that specific area, we went very deep because we bought new machine based on ozone. Same name in English, okay? So it can sterilize the whole car in 7 minutes. So of course it's not everywhere. You need to go to one of our garage, you go there and you plug the ozone machine and sterilize the car in 7 minutes. They don't do that all the time, but some of our taxi driver during the lockdown, when they were transporting a lot of people who may be infected because we're in close contact with people sick. So we bought those machines in order to have the best health condition in the cars for drivers and for our customers.
I have a question. I'd like to know if you have any plans to, your G7 is mainly in Paris? So do you have any plans to go to the suburbs around Paris to offer rides into the city and out of the city for people that are high risk and don't wish to take public transport or take the RER as a way of expanding your business and getting back to 100% in the next 6 months ahead?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Now we have 1,000 cars in Paris, 4,000 in whole France. One of the effects of this crisis is that the taxi driver, just to remind you, there is 60,000 taxi driver in France, 60,000, 18,000 in Paris, and 9,000 affiliate G7 in Paris. So one of the effects of this crisis is to show the drivers that they really need to be part of a network. They really need to be in a company. We have many drivers in the suburbs of Paris who knock at our door asking to be included in our network. So we're gonna so far we just have maybe 500. So we're gonna work on that because there is a taxi driver who want to be part of the G7 network. So that's one of our plans. And also in this bigger fight between private hire, the new private hire and taxi, I think we can do few things in London because you know there is many car manufacturer bought a private hire company and build a new app, and they merge taxi and private hire in their app to save money, of course. Instead of having two apps, one for taxi and one for taxi drivers, many car manufacturers decided to merge them. And for taxi driver, this thing is unbearable. They don't want to be in the same app as an Uber. They don't want to have a black cab and a Uber in the same app. That's not possible for them. It's unbearable. So we may increase our operations in London because of that. Because our competitors, well, are not really competitors today, but they're going to be tomorrow. They did not realize the way you can work with taxi driver, and does not work like that in Europe. You cannot work for competitors. For example, I had many private hire cars, private hire drivers, who asked us to sell them the little wall between a taxi driver and the customer, and we did not sell it to them. We pre-authorized and we sold all this plastic wall to the taxi. So it was a tough war. So you cannot play on both sides. That's not possible. You have to choose. So some of my competitors decided to play on both sides. So it gives us opportunity to set up new operations, especially in London, where the market is it's huge. It's double the size of the Parisian market.
Okay.
I saw a question from Gilles Sedbon. Do you want to rephrase your question? It just appear quickly on my iPad. Oh.
I wonder if cleaning needs to stop the vehicles, and that's sometimes a problem in some Paris areas, and perhaps sometimes drivers don't have time between two customers to do the cleaning.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
Today they really manage. As you know, in Paris, there is quite specific, which is different from London and from New York. When the cab driver is available, he has to stop and to go to a special place to be stored. So he's gonna when there is no customer, he cannot drive around looking for customer. So in that case, it would increase the traffic. So what the regulators decided many years ago was that when the taxi is available, you park it on the place. So in this parking, the driver has time to clean the car and do what's necessary. So that's one of the reasons I don't really believe in driverless taxis in the future. You really need to clean the car when you have 20 people going in and out in a taxi, in a car, in a private hire, whether it's private hire or taxi. You really need to have someone taking care of the car, making sure the car is just perfectly clean for the next customer.
Gilles, you have another question.
In the language, no?
Yeah.
I
Yes. Knowledge of foreign languages, is it a problem in your for your drivers?
You can if you want to have if you want to have a driver who speaks foreign language and specifically English, you can when you call the call center, you can ask to have an English spoken driver. It's possible. We have few of them. I'm not saying it's going to be Shakespeare language. I'm just saying it's possible. It's possible. We try to increase the level of English through the webinar. We try to do, because they are waiting 20 or 25 minutes between two customers. Why wasting this time? Why not trying to give them some training about, for example, speaking English? We are working on that because I'm sure that, but taxi drivers are not the only one. I mean, French people are not so fluent with English, so everybody has to improve English in our business.
I'd like to ask you if you have a different demographic in the customers that you have versus the Uber. If you're, having this really this big point of differentiation in service has changed the demographic that you have versus Uber.
Yeah. Well, what we can say is that usually our customer are a little bit older than the Uber customer. From what we know, because we don't have any statistic on that, but we are not so good on students and young, and we have to improve. We have to, because now the price difference is not what it was a few years back. So now with the same price, you can have a professional or not someone who is working part-time for Uber. So, but today, I think one of the weakest customer point is under 30 years old. Under 30 years old, G7 is not as strong as Uber. Uber is stronger than us, but we are working on that, because once you have tried, I mean, for example, when you have kids of 20 years old, I mean, I don't want my kids or my daughter to be in a Uber. No way. And even if I was not chairman or CEO of G7, I would not allow that. I want to have someone who has been checked. The criminal background has been checked by the authority. It's a regulated system for a reason. It's not to please G7. If it's a regulated system, it's just to have the maximum protection because of regulator who is controlling the car, who is controlling the fact that the driver, for example, the driver in Paris cannot work more than 11 hours. It's not the case of the Uber driver, and there are so many crashes because of Uber driver just fell asleep going to the airport. So, but that's why we have to work on that. We are under 30 years old. The customer base of G7 is too weak, and now there is no more pricing difference. No, with the search price, with those algorithm of our competitors, which are really not clear at all. We read so many things in the press about that. Like you have search price when your mobile has a low battery, and then you cannot compare with a competitor, for example. So, but indeed, that's a very good question. And demographic, our average customer is more like between 40 and 50 years old. You were maybe under 30 years old. I'm speaking about France. Maybe it's different in the States or in Canada.
No, I would be very surprised. I think it's probably very comparable.
Okay.
I think it's very comparable. Yeah.
Okay. That's.
But in the absence of the price differential, I'd say that you would have a very good chance, for first-time users of the service that have always been, you know, from the inception of Uber, if they can be, they could change their habits, you know, if there's no price differential.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are pretty optimistic about that. And you know, our competitors, one way or another, with this crisis, will have to make money. I mean, you cannot. First quarter, my competitors, 3 billion turnover, 3 billion loss, and there was no COVID. And COVID started 15th of March.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it will change. I think anyway, if it pricing, my competitor will increase.
It already increased.
Yeah, yes, they did, but it's not very well known.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's already increased, but not enough.
On what I see, I am a father of a young lady, and I don't want her to go to the Uber because it's the same price. And finally, it's safer to be in a real taxi. And I have a lot of friends that has a daughter or a boy at the same age, between 18 to 30. And things are moving. For me, things are moving because inside Paris, you don't want your Uber anymore. For kids, for safety. Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah. Things will change, I'm sure.
Yeah. Nicolas,
I still have the time to thank you a lot for this 1 hour with us and your presentation. You really deserve the awards we give you last year. I was really happy with that, and we have a good relation between Ayming and the Groupe Rousselet in general, and I'm happy to have you today. And thanks a lot for this for this day, for this hour with us today. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the people attend this meeting today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hervé. See you. Thank you.
See you soon. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.